The opinions expressed by tonight's guest do not represent the opinions or position of Spaced Out Radio, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with SOR Media. Listener discretion is advised. Here at Spaced Out Radio, we are about to take you higher. Broadcasting from the Rocky Mountains of Colorado to you listening around the world. This is Spaced Out Sunday with host Tessa Nicole Thomas. You can follow Tessa on our Facebook page at Spaced Out Radio, on Twitter at TessaTNT, and you can subscribe to her YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio for the archive. But we break on command 'cause women rule the world. Buckle up, space travelers. Let the countdown begin.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's time to go for a ride with host Tessa Nicole Thomas.
I'm such a lucky guy, 'cause after all this time, it's like a deeper
Good evening, Spaced Out Radio. Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a Rocky Mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 419.9 in colorful Colorado. It is Sunday, March 3rd, Monday, March 4th for those of you on the East Coast and beyond, and this is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you guys had a rockin' week, an awesome weekend, and an even better evening. I'm your host, TessaTNT, and I'm live tonight broadcasting from beautiful Fylth, Colorado. We are 150,000 strong nightly on Spaced Out Radio Network, spacedoutradio.com, Spreaker, Paranormal Radio, TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, TuneIn Radio, as well as 99.1 FM WQEE in Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead, 107.7 FM UPRN in New Orleans, Louisiana, as well as, Revolution Radio, KZFX FM on 93.7 FM, KDUN Radio on 1030 AM, and so many more places, as well as Deep Talk Radio, which you can find at deeptalkradio.com. Don't forget to head to our website, spacedoutradio.com, where you can peruse the Spaced Out Radio store and read the encounter online dealing with everything strange, paranormal, and odd. So tonight I have a treat for all my guys and gals out there. Tonight we will be talking to and getting to know William Pattison, a.k.a. Eric Morse, and he's an author who wrote the Camp Crystal Lake novel series for Berkeley Books, published 1993 through 1994, and these books include the novels Mother's Day, Jason's Curse, The Carnival, and Road Trip, the fifth Camp Crystal Lake novel, The Mask of Jason Voorhees, which he web-published for his fans. William also published the novel Psychotic State, the novel, and The Traveler, A Conflict of Interest under his real name. As Eric Morse, he was mentioned in the second printing of the book Crystal Lake Memories by Peter Breck. Also, William worked as an executive consultant on an independent film adaptation of his novel Friday the 13th, Mother's Day. He worked as an executive consultant and screenwriter on an independent horror anthology film titled The Horror Seasons. He also worked with screenwriter Matt Mosley on the script for the slasher film Sparrow. Currently, he is the main man on the Blog Talk radio show The Wolfpack Presents. William works with co-host Derek Young, Christopher Hyland, and Mary Maddox. Also, he was the executive consultant on the film in Derek Young's film Midnight Matinee Psycho. He plays the role of a reporter at the beginning of the film. He is also credited as associated producer, contributing writer, and unit director on the film as well. He brought back his reporter character in Derek Young's film Psychotic State. He will also be playing a part in Derek Young's next film, Josie. He is the creator of the event Artists in Horror Month, and he also is the guy behind the mini film festival, A Taste of Terror, charity event for Samaritan House, and he runs the host Eric Moore's Bloodbath Theater on Google Hangouts, which is super awesome. I recommend you guys check it out. I love it to death. Hey, William, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you could join us.
Gorin Scares, everybody. Yep. King of Spider-Punk and author of the Camp Crystal Lake novels is right here for you.
I'm super excited. Like I was telling you earlier, my mom basically raised us on horror films, and so sometimes when I'm trying to get to sleep, I'll turn on some horror flicks, and Bloodbath Theater is like my favorite thing these days. I'm so glad that I met you and you introduced me to that, because I really love it, having being able to go back and revisit these films that I had seen as a kid with Vincent Price and all these other artists in there, and I'm so grateful that you did that.
Yeah, well, yeah, the thing was that I did that around 2015, and yeah, I did that because I needed to keep my name out, and the thing was that I started practicing with editing and stuff, so I just thought I could do the type of horror host show that I used to enjoy as a kid, now with zero budget. And pretty much, I do. I use my webcam. I'm pretty much sitting on my bed hosting with my horror host, Skull John. And I find the movies on like YouTube, believe it or not. And then what I do is I use a free editor and I edit it together and put it out there. And I do all my graphics work myself. A friend of mine who is the horror host of his own show, he does creature features on Vimeo. Al Omega, he was just blown away because, he has to have a crew for his show, whereas, it's just me and my lovely little editor. But yeah, it's fun because the thing was that over the years here, I've noticed that the new generation of horror fans have pretty much ignored the earlier films. The average horror fan that's probably about under 20, the years that they think the horror genre runs from is like 1979 to present, because they won't even look at anything earlier than that. And so the thing is, I did Bloodbath Theater to culture these kids, because when I was young, every Saturday night, my mother was a huge horror fan, so we would sit down and we would watch creature features on our local Bay Area television station with host Bob Wilkins, and then later on Mr. John Stanley, who's a wonderful friend of mine. And, I just got to see all these old tacky horror films, and it is just wonderful, you know. And the thing is that, you know, people, you know, doing Bloodbath Theater, I've reacquired my love of the old black and white and 70s and 60s style horror films. You know, I'm starting to see again what I loved in them. And it's just wonderful, you know, going in. And I've actually found a number of horror films that I've never even seen. So it's been an interesting journey for me. And,
yeah, for sure.
You know, and one nice thing that I've seen is over the past 6 years that horror has started to go through a change and a renaissance. And the thing is, you know, I mean, you know, before that, you know, everyone was so much in love with 80s horror that they always wanted to copy it, and they never copied it right because they basically took one film, believe it or not, Tessa, one film being Friday the 13th, and redid it over and over and over again. So most of the slasher films and that have come out in the 90s and that are pretty much Friday the 13th copies. You know, it runs pretty much the same storyline and that, and you have the same. It's what I call the Breakfast Club cast.
Right.
Because it's literally the Breakfast Club when you look at the people in these slasher films, because you've got the princess, you've got the geek, you've got the jock, beauty queen, you know, all, you know, horror, all this. And the thing is that, you know, people, when they watch this over and over and over again, it gets boring. And if you're just having gore thrown at you, and amazingly enough, I used to get into arguments, you know, flat out arguments with people about what's important in a horror film. And in the late 90s, early 2000s, I got the same thing from these ones. And these were even filmmakers who were doing horror films. And it's like, oh, well, all we need is a cool killer or a cool monster, and we need plenty of gore. And now the thing is that what we're seeing that they're bringing back, you know, the films nowadays, they're bringing back a lot of the psychological horror. They're learning how to put tension into a film, and they've cut down the gore and they've cut down the sex. So once in a while you do have a sex gore fest. I mean, seriously, I just finished watching a film, and, you know, this is one for people to find, because even for a gore fest, this one's good. It's a movie called Cherokee Creek. It's a comedy horror monster film. And it's about these guys. The one guy is a whipped guy, and he's going to be marrying his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And she refused to let his friends take him to a club, for his bachelor party. So she pushed them into having him do camping out there with his friends who are in the film business and stuff. While she is going out to the club, with the male dancers and stuff. But anyway, so the boyfriend, his friends capture him, put him in a van. He thinks he's being kidnapped. They take him out to the woods, and it's bachelor party. They have strippers brought in, and unfortunately, they end up with Bigfoot killing them one at a time.
Yeah. I haven't seen that movie, but I gotta check it out. And
it was kicked off of Amazon Prime because they said for the gore.
Really? Oh my goodness. There's so much worse stuff out there,
Yeah, but the gore in this is pretty good, and it gets really intense.
Yeah,
I can't mention it on here because of the FCC regulations.
Right. Donna's mentioning different shows, Vampire Planet, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, different shows. And then Trip was asking, do you consider The Blob a horror movie?
Oh, yeah, The Blob's a horror movie. Blob's as much of a horror movie as The Thing, which, they kind of skirt the line between science fiction and horror, but they're still horror. I mean, people actually consider Alien a horror film, too.
Yeah, and it is pretty creepy. Somewhat of like a sci-fi horror thriller. And I've watched all of them. And like you said, with these certain films, they kind of redo them over and over and over again. It kind of gets monotonous. But have you noticed that on Super Bowl Sunday, they were announcing all these old shows that they're bringing back and making new again, including The Twilight Zone?
Oh yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about the new Twilight Zone. I mean, I didn't like the last time they brought it back. That didn't work out very well. It only lasted about 4 episodes. But this one with Gordon Peele doing the hosting, this one sounds interesting.
Yeah, and it kind of gets you back to combining comedy with horror, and I really love it when they do that, where it not only scares you, but it makes you laugh. So I love when they do that.
Yeah. For people who don't know, they're also going to be making Creep Show into an anthology series. So George Romero's Creep Show, the one that had all the Stephen King stories in it, they're making that into a regular series, and they're bringing back the original Creep for that. Also, Shyamalan is still working on bringing back Tales from the Crypt. So, we're going to have we're going to basically have a whole bunch of anthologies coming out. It's, because people love anthologies. And it's one way that you can keep a horror series fresh, as if it's an anthology. I just watched the the last few days I've been watching a show that was on HBO. That's an anthology. It's called Folklore. And it is stories from Thailand and all the Asian countries. And it's based on mythical creatures and stuff that are there, you know, and ghost stories and that kind of thing. It's fantastic. I was very impressed with it.
It's really nice when they do remake things and they actually do a good job of it. I hate it when they remake stuff and they kind of totally butcher it. But I'm super excited to see the new Twilight Zone. I grew up on that, and Alfred Hitchcock, and then later in the 90s, I believe, is when The Crypt Keeper came out and was telling some new horror stories, and that was awesome as well. I always love horror flicks and the paranormal, and when they are able to capture stuff and put it on film for other people to see.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, you should also check out Monsters. That is an incredible anthology. That came out after the George Romero anthology series, Tales from the Dark Side. And that one usually has a little humor to it.
Yeah. And I love when they do that. When they bring the humor in with the horror, it kind of... It's like a roller coaster. You're up and down, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, one of my favorite ones from Monsters was a story called One Wolf Family. And it's a story about a werewolf family. And the thing is that the daughter has fallen in love with a were-hyena. And so it's, you know, it's kind of like, guess who's coming to dinner? Because it's the daughter bringing the future son-in-law to dinner. And the thing is, you know, the father's this, you know, he doesn't like were-hyenas because, you know, he thinks of them as scavengers and stuff. And, you know, he sits there and he goes, well, how are you going to take care of my daughter? You know what, you think she's going to eat scraps like you do? And so what ends up happening is that the future son-in-law, he goes and he kills the neighbor and brings her head to the family with whipped cream and a strawberry on top.
Oh, so nice of him.
Yeah, I know. It's a great series and very well written. So if you ever get a chance, definitely check it out. You know, I love anthologies. You know, as a kid, I actually saw the original Tales from the Crypt, which was an Amagus production. It was actually a film. And they did a sequel to it, which was called Vault of Horror, and a whole bunch of different ones. So, you know, this was like in the 60s, early 70s, and, you know, you had all these anthology films that were different stories, and they were usually done from England. I should honestly put a couple of those on for Bloodbath Theater sometime. You know, because I've got a few very interesting ones and a couple that even I didn't know about. There was this one that Burgess Meredith was in the wraparound story, and he was playing the devil in it, and it was called Torture Garden. And just fantastic little anthology that I'd never seen. But yeah, you know.
And like you're saying,
anthologies are great.
Yeah, if they are, and there's so much stuff out there that we haven't seen, and I do hope you bring some of those English horror / comedies out on Bloodbath so I can partake in it as well, because it's hard to know what to look for when you're looking online for certain things, and for you to put that on Bloodbath Theater would be awesome.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to get a lot of different stuff. This month I'm going to be showing an Italian film, and I'm going to be showing an American 70s television show, American television movie. The Italian one is called Something Creeps in the Dark, and it's kind of a thriller. It's kind of a proto slasher film about these people who are trapped in this house in a storm, and someone's trying to kill them all. And the other film is called Something Evil, and it's a TV movie directed by, believe it or not, a little-known little director named Steven Spielberg.
Mm-hmm. Who's that?
Yeah, who's that? Yeah, the thing is that dear old Stevie boy, he was very well known for doing TV and little low-budget horror before Jaws. So I happened to find one of his little good ghost stories for this month. So that's going to be interesting.
Raman was asking, has William seen any, I think it's pronounced Giallo? Giallo?
Giallo, yes. Yeah, I've seen a lot of the Giallo stuff. The Italian horror stuff. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot, but I've seen a few. I've been getting back into just recently Bellucci. So I just recently I put on Bellucci's what was it? The Black Cat, which was a very interesting film. It was during Bellucci's later years when he was losing his touch. But this film was actually one that was really good. And then there was also Voices from Beyond, which was an interesting story about a man who gets killed. He's poisoned. Well, actually, he's killed by a member of his family, and he reaches out from the grave to get his daughter to solve his mystery, the mystery of his death.
Mm-hmm.
So, interesting little film. All through the film, you see the guy starting to decay. So they have shots of him during that when he's trying to get in touch with his daughter.
Trip was asking, has Mr. Pattison thought about writing about the people that create the special effects and characters in horror films?
Well, I don't do actually books on like biographies and that, but I do know a whole bunch of special effects people. Actually, the girl who does the intros on my podcast, the Wolfpack Presents, which I do currently with my co-host, Mr. Christopher Hyland, the horror sex symbol. Our intro girl is Mary Madcox, which is she's also known as Nurse Hatchet, and she's also a heavy metal one. She has a band called Mixtress Dominatrix, but she's also a special effects person. And she did some fantastic special effects for the series The Chainsaw Sally Show. And that one is interesting. I'm looking at the chat room, and one person asked if I would play Misty for me. Hell yeah, I've been thinking about doing play Misty for me. You know, that one's an interesting one. So I might do that. There's there's a lot of films I want to do. It's just hard because you have to watch out for the copyright and stuff, you know. Even though I don't make any money off of doing the films, because I'm trying to do this for the fans.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of films that can get me into trouble trying to put up. Amusingly enough, I had to get off of YouTube because they were pulling some stuff. They actually pulled a whole bunch of my episodes of Bloodbath Theater, trying to say that I broke copyright, but I didn't. I knew that the films that I had were public domain, and the thing was that what it was that they had started their YouTube Red thing, and they were starting to make money off of some of the films that they were getting, and they were running these particular films and were making money off of them. So it's like definitely had to get off of there. So now I'm on Vimeo.
Everett was asking in the chat room as well, what does William think is the biggest difference in horror filmmaking today versus the 50s and 60s?
50s and 60s. Well, the thing is that filmmaking now is a hell of a lot easier. It's, to make actually a film nowadays is not as expensive. You would think so when you get into the theater, or not into the studios thing, because they go, oh well, we have to have $100 million to make a film. Nowadays, you can actually make a good horror film for probably about $3,000. I've actually watched horror films that were made using a person's phone camera. There was actually a horror film that actually got distributed, and it was done, using an iPhone camera. Very good film. I mean, they spent a couple $1,000s on it because, for special effects and stuff, and to pay the actors and that. But yeah, I mean, when I was in film school, yes, I actually was in film school. We had to use film, believe it or not. Yeah, 16 and 8mm film, and the processing on that was, it was expensive, and you had to limit your amount of shots because of the fact that you didn't want to run out of film. Nowadays, because of the fact that most films are done on digital now, you don't have that problem anymore. You can do that, and there's free editors that have special effects and stuff. And it's amazing what you can do now. The big difference between now and the 50s and 60s is that they had to put a lot of imagination and a lot of know-how, because they had to, really, put a lot into a special effect. They didn't have the makeup technology that we have nowadays. They didn't, they didn't have a lot of the engineering. If you look at the old horror films, it's basically, a lot of the monsters are people in suits, and not really that good at suits. Some of these monsters are actually amusing. But, they did what they could with them. And, these films had a feel to them. I mean, these people put a lot of love into these films, trying to do it. Nowadays it's a little bit different. I mean, I've dealt with some attitudes with some filmmakers, now, and basically with them, it's all the money. It's not so much the love anymore. Though I have found groups of independent filmmakers who are really in love with film. And, they're the ones that have like the shoestring budgets and that, and they're doing some of the more wackier films. Like my associate Derek Young, he works on a lot of films, and he's been on a lot of zombie films. Now, zombie films, the ones pretty much all you need is a bunch of zombies that you can shoot.
Right.
Zombies and a few survivors and that, and pop guns.
Right. Everett in the chat room was asking, was Ed Wood crazy, a cinematic genius, or both?
Was who?
Ed Wood?
Oh, Ed Wood. Let me put it this way. God. Damn it. What's funny is that I had a heart attack a few years ago, and they put me on pills, and it sometimes affects my memory.
Right.
God. Who was the director that did Edward Scissorhands? Tim Burton.
Yes.
Ed Wood was the Tim Burton of his time. That's why Tim Burton really associated with Ed Wood and that. Ed Wood had his own style, and he honestly thought that he was doing great films, and he had the most heart of any filmmaker I could see. I mean, I see a lot of Ed Wood in my friend Derek, who's a film director. I mean, I could see honestly Derek getting his entire crew baptized to get the money for a film. Just like Ed Wood did. And Derek is one who he picks up like stray film actors and that. He actually picked up one of Ed Wood's actors from Plan 9. I can't remember which one it was, but this guy was an old man, and he put him in a couple of his films. And it's something, when I've managed to get out with my friend Derek. Friend Derek, he lives in Martinsville, Virginia, and he tries to get me to conventions, and I've been to like 3 conventions on the East Coast, and just it's fascinating because it's almost like a circus atmosphere when you're at a convention as a guest. And everyone at the convention, we're like a family and stuff. We go out and eat with each other and stuff. I mean, amusingly enough, you guys are going to love this. The last day that I was at this one convention, EpicCon, they had most of the cast of Nightbreed there, Clive Barker's Nightbreed. And so me and a friend of mine, Sal Lizard, he's known as the Vampire Santa. And he does films and he produces films, and he's an actual Santa. So he plays Santa during Christmas, and he plays the Vampire Santa at conventions during the rest of the year. So he walks around in his Santa suit with these black eyes and fangs. But anyway, the last night we were at EpicCon, I ended up with Sal, and we were in the bar, and I ended up sitting there hanging out and drinking with the entire cast of Nightbreed. And Sal, who is also a stand-up comedian, he got sauntered and did his entire comedy routine on top of a table for the crew of Nightbreed. And what's even more amusing is before I ran into Sal, I ended up having dinner with the remaining cast of Dark Shadows, which was a thrill for me because I grew up with Dark Shadows.
Yeah, it's so cool when you get to, like, be one-on-one with those people and interact with them, and then, like you're saying, he's doing this whole comedy skit there in front of you guys, and conferences and Comic-Cons and such are really awesome to be at, and you do meet some really awesome people, and it is kind of like family, and it's just kind of a new realm of fun. I remember meeting Dave and his wife, and Eric with a K, and we decided to go across the street and get something to eat at the Waffle House, and so we're playing Frogger across the highway, you know. But there's so much fun and different things that you do find at these conferences that you don't really expect.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, you know, when I was at EpicCon, you know, I also ended up hanging out with Christian St. Booth and his wife, and even ran into Chip Coffey and gave him a copy of Psychotic State.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that was a thrill because he was not even a guest or anything. He just came, and he came to see Christian, and so I got a chance to sit there and talk to Chip Coffey and that, and it was a thrill.
He seems like a really awesome guy. What did you feel about him?
Oh, I loved him. I mean, he was great. I mean, he actually let me have a picture with him and stuff, and all kinds of stuff. And you know, that's why I gave him the copy of Psychotic State. I just told him, I said, you know, I've appreciated you all these years, and I want to give you something that I've made myself. And he just was thrilled about it.
That's awesome you got to meet him, because I've always looked up to him, and one of my favorite paranormal shows, which was one of the originals that came out, was Paranormal State, and he was a big part of that show, and I've always looked up to him and thought a lot about him, and then I hear different people telling me that they've actually got to meet him and hang out with him, and I'm like, hook me up, I'd love to have him on my show, but you're so lucky. I'm jealous. Now I'm jealous.
I know. Yeah, you know, and Christian St. Booth, I mean, he's something, him and his wife. You know, I got to sit there and talk to him because he was just a few tables away from me. So I'd go, you know, when things were slowed down, I'd go over and hang out and talk with him, either talk to him or go across the way and talk to my friends over there, you know, who were from the film Toxic Avenger. So, you know, that was always a thrill. Yeah, I also got to, actually, I shared my table with one of the zombies from The Walking Dead.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm all caught up. I haven't been watching this season. I've been busy with the show and whatnot, but luckily it comes out on Netflix later, and my mom hooked me up with her DirecTV thing, so I could go back and watch them if I ever find the time to do so. But it's a really good zombie show. I really have enjoyed it. Do you like it, or what are your thoughts on The Walking Dead?
I actually gave up on The Walking Dead last season after the Negan storyline ended. You know, I just couldn't get into it anymore.
I saw that he was gone, and then I saw something like he's still there, so I don't know what's going on. But like I said, I haven't watched this last season that's going on right now, so I'm not sure if Negan's still alive and they're keeping him prisoner and they're doing different other things, or if he actually did die during that last season.
No, he was still alive at the end of the last season, and I think he's actually gotten out. But now the ones are dealing with these humans that are making themselves up as zombies, you know, to trick the zombies and stuff, and so they're being attacked by these ones now.
Robin was asking, what do you think about William Castle? He said his dad thinks William Castle is the B version of Alfred Hitchcock. What are your thoughts?
Definitely the B version of Alfred Hitchcock. Definitely, I love Castle, and Castle is fantastic because he was a real showman. and he really cared about the crowd. He really cared about, people having an experience. He was a real trickster, because all of his films, he always had a gimmick that he would put in for, like, well, you remember, Tessa, I talked about it on House on Haunted Hill, about him and his censor or thing where he had the skeleton that was hung from the ceiling of the theater, and it would go passing over the crowd at certain times during the film. And then when he did the Tingler, he put these little, like, joy buzzer things in the chairs so that at certain times, when the Tingler was around in the movie, he would sit there and startle people out of their seats with that. He was fantastic about that. I love Castle. Unfortunately, his family later on in the 90s, they decided that they wanted to remake his films, and they didn't remake them very good, in my opinion. All the Dark Castle films, because they redid 13 Ghosts, they redid House on Haunted Hill. Actually, I kind of liked House on Haunted Hill, and I liked the sequel to it, Return to House on Haunted Hill. But 13 Ghosts and House of Wax, no. I did not appreciate the idea that they had a wax house out in the woods and it didn't melt. And that. And I kind of felt sorry for the guy from Supernatural, Padalecki, for having to be in that film.
I've been watching Supernatural during my night shift security, but I don't remember that name, and I'm trying to think of what season. Who's Padalecki? What is he do in there?
Sam.
Sam?
Yeah, he's Sam.
Okay.
Jared Padalecki. Jared Padalecki was also in the quote-unquote remake of Friday the 13th.
Oh, wow.
But yeah. Amusingly enough, his his co-actor Jensen Ackles, who plays Dean, he was actually in a horror film too. He was in the remake of My Bloody Valentine. It was My Bloody Valentine in 3D. Everyone has an issue with that one, but I don't. I actually loved it. It was that was one of the few remakes that I actually really liked. One other one that I liked the Friday the 13th one with Padalecki in it, but a lot of people didn't. Another one that I really liked was the remake of The Evil Dead. That one was outstanding.
Someone had mentioned earlier Shaun of the Dead, which I really enjoyed because it does have that humor factor as well as the horror factor, and that scene where they're killing zombies to the Queen song, having a good time, and they're like in time, like beating these zombies and going off, and that really entertained me, and I really loved that show. What did you think of Shaun of the Dead? Did you enjoy that, or think, not quite?
Oh, yeah. I've got it in my collection. I bring it out once a year.
Yeah, dust it off, play it again.
I bring that one out, and then I bring out the original Dawn of the Dead. Because my sister and we love Shaun of the Dead, and we love Dawn of the Dead, the original one. You know, not the remake. I mean, I like the remake, but
yeah, you
nothing
just can't,
beats the original.
That's right. You just can't remake that movie.
No, because I mean, it's just everything about that movie. All the defects, you know, the fact that they've got blue-gray zombies, and that music in the shopping mall. Oh my God! Oh my God!
Oh yeah.
I mean, we have a mall about 15 miles from our house that my mother and I used to go to, San Fran Mall, and I keep going. I would go there, and it was an older type mall, and I keep imagining that film.
Right.
It's something.
Well, we have 5 seconds here before we're going to go to break, so luckily I don't have to interrupt you. But you guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages.
Looking for nighttime adventure? Old school radio that delves into everything out of the norm? Then check us out at Spaced Out Radio. This is Dave Scott. Every Monday through Friday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we're going to take you on a wild ride ranging from conspiracies to true crime and every ghost, alien, and Sasquatch story in between. We're always live, and we're always interactive with you. So join us at spacedoutradio.com, where together, we own the night.
Hey, guess what? You can now get your brand new Spaced Out Radio swag at spacedoutradio.com. We've brought the store back with all new items for you to pick out and pick up for yourself, your family, or friends. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, we got it all. All you have to do is head to our website and click on Store. Choose what you want and it's shipped to you. The Spaced Out Radio store is right there for you. Come shop with us at spacedoutradio.com. Then we can own the night together.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com. If you're heading to Vancouver, make sure you stop by the official bar of Spaced Out Radio, the Moose Vancouver. It's the place to party in YVR. At the corner of Nelson and Granville, the Moose Vancouver is always up to speed with a kitchen staff that serves great food. All food on the menu, $6.95 to $8.95. There's a reason the Moose Vancouver is recognized as one of the hottest spots on the West Coast. Get your horns up for the Moose Vancouver.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
You can follow Tessa on Twitter at TessaTNT, on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio, and our website is spacedoutradio.com. Now, back to Spaced Out Weekend host, Tessa Nicole Thomas.
Hear the sound again, voices dancing in my head, smile wide, drowning slowly as the echoes rise.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. So great to have you, and we are joined tonight by Mr. William Pattison. Welcome back. I'm so grateful that you're here.
No problem there. Yeah, I'm excited. I love talking horror. I pretty much, that's my hobby is horror. Everything that I do online pretty much is horror related.
So we were talking on the break, and that was what you had brought up was my next question. What are your favorite horror shows or flicks? What are your top movies that you like to watch that are horror films?
Alrighty. Well, I go for some of the classics and some of the stuff there. One that I really love is The Haunting, the original Haunting, which was from the 1960s. That one is an incredible film. I mean, you don't see any ghosts. All you do is hear, and there's just this tension and this just creepy feel to the film. And, I've seen the remake, and the remake just ruins it because they put in a lot of CGI ghosts and stuff in it. That doesn't work. The original one worked just so well. and the black and white really added to it. Another one is one from the early 70s, which is on the same thing. It's the film adaptation of Richard Matheson's The Legend of Hell House. Actually, it's based on his book Hell House, but it's called The Legend of Hell House. It was an English production, and Roddy McDowall was in it. He played a psychic in it, and it was just a fantastic film. You know, and the thing is that they actually had a real paranormal investigator, Hans Halsner, as technical advisor on that film. So, they got a lot of it right. I mean, you'd be amazed. I mean, being a person who's actually investigated the paranormal, you'd be amazed at what they actually got right in that film. Another one, still on the same track, believe it or not, is Kevin Tenney's Witchboard. I loved that film, and, dear friend of mine, Kathleen Wilhoit, she plays the psychic in it, Zarabeth, and she presents a rather unique psychic. Poltergeist had Tangela, and Witchboard had Zarabeth, and that was, Zarabeth really was only in a short time, but she really made an impression. Another one, and this one, it's a film that I think it has everything in it. And it's just such a lot of people discredit it, but I absolutely love it. It's, one thing I can say about it is it had all practical effects. And what they did with the practical effects was amazing. It's Tales from the Crypt, Demon Night. That film is just amazing. I mean, you look at the demons in that thing. Those are some amazing looking demons, and they weren't CGI. And what they did with that was just amazing. So, those are absolutely outstanding. God, I'm trying to remember. Another film that I really appreciated was a film called 100 Feet. And this one was another ghost story. It starred Famke Jameson. And what she is she's this woman who, her husband was a cop, and she killed him. She cut his head off and with a knife. And the thing is that what's happened is she's been in jail, and she gets sent back to her the house that she lived in New York, and she's got one of those bracelets around her ankle where she can only go so far, and an alarm goes off. And the thing is that the plot of the story is that her husband's ghost is active in the house. And so she's trapped in there with her abusive husband, and nobody believes her, and she has this cop that's watching her and thinks that that she didn't kill her husband, and that somebody is in the house beating on her to try to keep her quiet. But anyways, this film is very psychological, and amazingly enough, all through the film, there's very little real violence. There's no real gore. You see her getting thrown around a lot, and you see the house getting demolished, but there's only one scene where there's gore. And the thing is that she ends up having sex with the delivery boy that delivers food to the house, and her husband goes and literally breaks every bone in this kid's body, just beats him to a pulp. Every flipping bone. I mean, you're hearing cracking, and you're seeing him just being broken. Held up in the air and broken, and then dropped to the floor. Now, that is just an amazing film. If you ever get a chance, definitely check it out. Very psychological as well.
Oh, excuse me.
So,
and what was the name of that film again? I'm sorry, I missed it.
100 Feet.
Okay. Yeah, and when they do get those small sounds as far as bones cracking and breaking and different things like that, that really just amps it up to where the horror is unreal. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, because the rhythm of this film was not in that way. It was psychological until that one scene. And the ghost in this is just amazing. When he shows himself, he doesn't look like a regular ghost. Which brings me to my next film that I can highly recommend, because this film just blew me away when I saw it. Unfortunately, it's subtitled, but it's Guillermo del Toro's The Devil's Backbone. This takes place, I can't remember the country, but during a time of war, and it's this place where they have all these kids. It's kind of like a mission. And the thing is that at one point, a bomb comes falling down into the middle of the place, and it doesn't go off. It's a dud. Well, anyways, it's about this kid that's put in there, and he finds out that there's a ghost there. It's this little kid, and just a creepy ass ghost. They use digital effects on him, and he had drowned, and you see all these water waves around him and stuff. It's just creepy as hell. And so this ghost wants this kid to solve his death because someone had murdered him. And, it's down around this backdrop of the military and stuff and all this, and there's this doctor in it. And then there's the other Guillermo del Toro film that I really love, which also had a creepy ghost in it. It was called The Orphanage. But that film has an amazing twist in it. So I'm not going to tell you the twist, but definitely something that people should actually check out. You know, and then of course, you know, the other two are before they did the Dark Shadows film. You know, Tim Burton's Dark Shadow. They had two other Dark Shadows films. And they were done in the 70s after the soap opera went out, and they, you know, one of them starred Jonathan Freed, and the other one starred the actress that played Angelique in Dark Shadows. And these were just fantastic horror films too. I love the House of Dark Shadows and Night of Dark Shadows. Very well done. And what was funny also is that Hans Holzner was actually the advisor on Night of Dark Shadows, which was a ghost story. It was about Angelique's ghost. So, very good film. So, anyways, yeah, that's, you know, those were some of my favorite horror films. You can see that I have a lot of them that are, you know, some in the 90s. You know, I've got a good mix there.
Yeah, it's hard to just pick one. You can't really just pick one. Everett was asking in the chat room, the 50s and 60s had some actors that became icons, such as Bela Lugosi, Vincent Price, etc. Are there any actors in the genre today that that you see as future icons?
That's hard to say because we don't really, you know, a lot of the actors that we have nowadays kind of spread out there. You know, you don't really have actors who are really set to the genre. I mean, you know, we've kind of lost that here with this new generation. So I don't really see any real horror icons per se. And the fact is, I know most of the horror film actors nowadays, and yeah, I don't really see anybody that's really jumping out. I mean, you know, we had Doug Bradley, we had Robert Englund, you know, we had just all these different ones that were kind of like the Bela Lugosi, the Boris Karloffs of the early times. We had our modern versions, but I'm not seeing anybody. I mean, you know, if you ask the teeny boppers around there, they'll say, "Oh well, you know, we like the Soskas." The Soska sisters. And like, oh, God, please save me.
Save me.
Yeah, save me, because I used to be friends with the Soska sisters, and now I just can't stand them. They sold out too bad. I mean, when I knew them, they were, just starting out. They were beginning filmmakers, just out of film school, and they had done their film Dead Hooker in a Trunk. And I admired them because of the fact that with this first film, they would actually get into their car and drive to bars and show their film. So they had that kind of thing. And what ended up happening is that Dead Hooker in the Trunk got really popular. But then what happened is that they made their second film, American Mary, and they got in with the snooty bunch of independent filmmakers, you know, the ones that are, oh, well, we're too good for any of those other people and all that. And all of a sudden it's, you know, the people who helped them, you know, like myself. I mean, I gave them their second interview of all, their second interview ever. And they basically turned their backs on me and, you know, really hurt me and my friend, Mr. Christopher Highland, who's my co-host on Full Spectrum Horror. And, you know, the thing that had happened was when they were doing American Mary, they were doing the tour to promote it. I went and I asked them, because Mr. Highland pushed it. He said, no, we really need this. And so I went to Jen Soska, and I asked her if she could be on my show, on my August the 13th show, which is actually my birthday. And Jen Soska, well, unfortunately, I can't do a really good Jen Soska imitation because I can't swear. Because
right.
Jen Soska at the time would swear every... so I'll just go F each sentence.
Okay.
Oh, well, you know, we effing love you, William, and Mr. Highland, but, you know, we're going to be doing effing conventions at that time, and, you know, we're going to be real tired and stuff, and we can't, you know, we wouldn't be able to take the time to do even one interview during that time. Yeah. What ended up happening is they ended up doing 9 hours of interviews on the day before, the day of, and the day after my birthday.
Jeez.
And then they went and posted on Facebook. They posted, oh, well, we did this because these are our friends and we'll do anything for our friends.
You're like, what about me?
Thing is, I was like, yeah. So anyway, so the thing is, their minions started picking up the fact that I got pissed off at them. I actually waited a year for them to apologize to me, and then I blocked them on Facebook because I got so disgusted with them.
Yeah, that's the best thing to do. Just block them and move on.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that ended up getting me cyber stalked. And these ones kept sitting there saying, oh, well, you're just pissed off because they didn't say happy birthday to you. And it's like, oh, no.
No, it goes a little deeper than that.
Yeah, it goes a little bit deeper than that, exactly. It goes to friendship and consideration. So anyways, you know, which reminds me just to tell people that, cyber stalking is not cool. And I'm still being cyber stalked. I've been cyber stalked since 2013. And it's pretty bad. You know, believe it or not, I'll tell you something. You know, this is just to bring this in so that people know about this part of the horror community. The cyber stalkers actually got so bad that I had put out, believe it or not, I had put out Psychotic State, The Traveler, and I had put out the first book in my series, Symphony of Death. It was a book called first part of that, which was Robert Diablo. And the thing is that the cyberstalkers went and threatened my publisher, said that they were going to bring down her publishing house by harassing all of her authors in that and destroying all of their works online. And so what she did is she ended up having to pull all my books and get rid of me. So I spent 3 years and ended up having to make my own independent publishing house, WCP Enterprises, and I republished my books, and I've put out two more books out of that. But this is pretty bad. Yeah, I know one of the people on there said that there's a lot of legislation on cyber stalking and cyber bullying. The problem is that the authorities won't do anything.
No, generally not until it's too late, you know.
No, they won't even. Yeah, I mean, I went to the police around here, and I told them I'm being cyber stalked. I need something done about this, and they told me to go to the FBI. I went to the FBI and told them, and they said that's not our venue. I went to the cyber crimes unit, and they said, well, you have to go back to your local law enforcement. So the thing is that what I'm, if there's anyone out there that is being cyber stalked in that, I just want to give them this little glimmer of hope. The thing is that the law is slow. Right now we've got 10 cyber stalkers in jail right now on 10-year sentences. But that was after these poor people had to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get them put in jail, having to get private investigators and that so that they could build cases. But the thing is that, like what's happening right now with the casting couch and all that, sooner or later, law enforcement is going to catch up, and cyber stalkers are going to go down. I mean, seriously, it is a serious situation with that. I mean, my friend Felicia Day, if anyone knows who Felicia Day is, she's an actress. She was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the last season. She was in Supernatural. She played Charlie Bradbury.
Oh, I love Charlie. I was so sad when she died. Again.
Yeah, well, she's back. But anyways, Felicia, yeah, she's a friend of mine. Felicia, during GameGate, she had people actually break into her house and trash it twice, and police didn't do anything.
That's insane.
Yeah, she had a horrible time. I mean, it was a terrible situation for her, and she had people, sending her death threats. Hell, I've had death threats sent to me. I've had these ones threaten my family. My friend Derek the thing is that they had these ones that said that they were watching his family and that they were going to shoot him.
It's insane the things that people get away with, and, you know, I feel sad because a lot of our kids aren't supposed to be on certain social media sites, but they lie about their age, they get on there anyways, and the way the cyberbullying is, like, a lot of kids these days are taking their lives because, like you said, there really is no end to it. They can bully and bully and bully, and I actually shared this picture that showed this guy holding a copper wire that was kind of looking like a fork, and if you want to talk to your loved ones, just plug this into the outlet and you'll be able to talk to them today. And they were like, are you okay? Are you feeling suicidal? Do you want to hurt yourself? We have all these things to help you, which is cool for people who really do feel like they're going to hurt themselves, but this was just kind of a funny thing that I shared not only on my page, but my Four Corners Paranormal Investigations page. But unless you copy the proof, because a lot of people sit there and say things and then delete it on social media, you just got to do like these picture frames of each thing that you're reading and save it so you can prove your case. But really, they're not on top of it like they should. Even on YouTube recently, there's that Momo challenge where it's telling kids to kill themselves and all this other stuff, and that's even on YouTube for kids. So they're really not on top of stuff.
No, they're not. I mean, you know, I've been fighting with Facebook for years. I've been fighting with YouTube for years. One of my cyber stalkers, he keeps putting out videos on it, on me, just constantly. I mean, when he started out, he was wearing a Jason hockey mask and, you know, putting his one eye closed and sitting there, you know, pretending to be Jason Voorhees and talking about, you know, what a loser I am, and trying to say that I didn't write my books and stuff, and say that I was stalking actresses. You know, well, the thing is that the actresses that he says I'm stalking I'm friends with. So it's like weird. But anyways, yeah, he ended up, now this is the stupidest part, because when law enforcement gets a hang on this, this guy's going down because he took the mask off, and now he's doing videos with his own face.
Yeah, and he's getting braver because they're not doing anything.
Yeah, and the thing is that I told him, I said, you need to stop. I said, you know, the thing is that what's going to happen is you've just made it where it's going to be easy for me to get you put in jail. And I said, when you go to jail, you know, your family's going to lose their house. They're going to be out there on the streets by themselves. You're going to be in jail. And whose fault is that? I told him, I said, it's yours, because you can't be a man and fucking not do this shit.
Yes, we can't cuss. And I understand how emotions go and you get amped up and things come out, but we can't because we're on.
Sorry, I didn't know. But
I understand your emotions and what you're feeling and how frustrating this is, and so sometimes certain things come out, but I just had to remind you real quick, like...
No problem, but anyway, so this guy ended up, he's sitting there saying that I'm threatening his family. Which is amazing.
Jeez. Well, he's the one that's actually doing it by his actions and what he's doing. But he's got to blame it on you. It's all your fault. No, it's his fault for being obsessive and stalking you, basically, and making these videos about you. It's insane.
Oh, yeah, and then this other guy he's associated with, he did a website that I can't even say the title of it because it's gross. But anyways, he's got over 300 blogs on me.
Wow. Get a life, guy.
Oh yeah, well these guys are amazing. They got like 26 Facebook pages where they're posting disgusting memes about me and stuff. You know, just all kinds of different stuff. So,
well, you just gotta let it, run off your back like water off a duck's back, and move on, and not pay attention to these guys. You know.
I do, because if I didn't, the thing is, I've seen so many talented people in the horror community who have been going through similar stuff like me. They just quit. They just quit and walk away. I mean, there was this one guy that did a couple of books on Friday the 13th. He did a couple of books called the Friday the 13th Diaries, which he was talking about the production of Friday the 13th, and he did a couple of chapters on me. Well, the stalkers, he had his own stalkers, and they stalked him to the point where he had to take his books off the market because of them.
Jeez.
But I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't let him do that to me. So, that was another reason why I started Bloodbath Theater, is to basically send them a message that I wasn't going to go down.
Yeah, you just gotta keep on swimming. Leave them in your wake.
And, I expanded my self and stuff. I did Bloodbath Theater. I was already doing my podcast, which I should honestly talk about for a little bit. I mean, we're done with the cyber stalking stuff. So, Bloodbath Theater. I mean, I've been doing that for, actually, I've been doing that for about 8 years now.
I'm so proud of you for doing that, and I'm so thankful because I really do love it. I really do. Wait a second. I not Bloodbath Theater, Wolfpack Presents, which is my podcast. Okay.
Sorry. But yeah, Bloodbath Theater I've been doing for like 3 years.
Yeah, and it's amazing and epic, and I love it. I really do enjoy it so much.
Yeah. You'll be amazed about the Wolfpack, though. When I started podcasting 8 years ago, I started out with a show called The Eric Morris Show, and that show only lasted 6 months because my co-host Hank Sullivan walked out on me. But then what ended up happening is I grabbed a couple of friends of mine, and we started a new podcast, which was called The Eric Morris Project. And what I did is I came up with a unique way of doing a podcast. It was kind of like what Dave does with Spaced Out Radio. But what I did is I had individual podcasts under the banner of the Wolfpack, of the Eric Morris Project. And so we did 13 shows under that banner. And I did a whole bunch of different shows myself. I did a show called Retro Radio Theater, where I played all these different characters, and we would show old radio plays, like Lights Out and stuff. And I would do it as myself and a character called Atomic Space Dog, which all he did is he goes, oh, oh. And then I had this character who was called Balthazar, Emperor of Evil, Child of Destruction. Hello, Tessa. This is Balthazar, Emperor of Evil, Child of Destruction. And it's a pleasure to be on Spaced Out Radio.
Pleasure to have you, Balthazar.
Yeah. And then I even had a gay character who was called Fabulous Fred the Helldresser. Hello, this is Fabulous Fred. I'm absolutely pleased to be here. Shut up, idiot. Ow! Unfortunately, he was Balthazar's slave, who he put a shocker chain on him. And then, of course, we had Balthazar's brother, who was simply Tommy, who was a cat that had been stuck in the dryer by accident.
Oh, that accidentally happened to my cat Cleo, and she was messed up for a few hours, but she's okay now.
Yeah, well, my cat Tommy actually did get stuck in the thing, and he got brain damage. So he always kind of had that kind of Ozzy Osbourne thing going,
right?
So
the cool meow.
On the show, on the show, I'd have him like, "Are you talking to me?"
Me?
No, Tommy. I'm not talking about you. Who's Tommy? You're Tommy. I am? That's amazing.
It was so sad. Yeah, we kept hearing this meowing, and we're like, what is that? And trying to find her, and she had accidentally, while we were putting the clothes from the washer to the dryer, and I guess somebody took a break, went to the bathroom or whatever, and then closed it and started it, and we're hearing this meowing, and we finally realized she was in the dryer, and, you know, she was doing the head spin thing for a while because she'd been tumbled for about 30 minutes. But it was so scary, but she did survive. But poor Tommy, he's all brain damaged now. He's drain damaged. Are you talking to me now?
Yeah, he did that. Yeah, so I came up with all these characters, and I even had one character that I borrowed from another movie. God damn, Cats and Dogs. Remember the movie Cats and Dogs?
Yes.
Well, remember the Mexican servant Maria?
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Tinkers. This is me, Maria. It is time for your bath, Mr. Tinkers. I'd bring that character in, and she'd be grabbing Balthazar and calling him Mr. Tinkles.
Balthazar, that was the evil cat, right? Trying to take over the world.
So yeah, I mean, I did that show for 2 years, and then the thing is that Blog Talk Radio cut us down to 30 minutes. I'd do that show for 2 hours, and I couldn't do it for 30 minutes because the radio shows were 30 minutes. So I ended up doing another
time. 30 minutes is no time at all.
I know.
3 hours isn't even enough time, you know?
Yeah, and so I ended up doing a show called Horror Update, where I'd do movie trailers and stuff, and all these different things. So I had Balthazar and crew on that for a while, and then I did my own paranormal show. It was kind of a weird paranormal show because I was a fan of Forever Night, and I liked the character LaCroix. And so I made up this character called the Night Caller. And I would do this weird LaCroix voice while talking about paranormal stuff. Hello, my friends out in the emptiness. It is I, the Night Caller, and I love you all very much.
Gosh,
So
it's
anyways,
fun.
yeah, I
I
mean,
gotta check into these shows.
Yeah, they're on Blog Talk Radio in the archive. But
So very
yeah, I
entertaining.
mean, I did some stuff on some paranormal cases and stuff. I talked about them, and then later on, the Night Caller actually teamed up with my friend Wayne Goulden's wife, who came on the show. She wanted to do a paranormal show, so we did a show called Pandora's Gate. And so it was her and the Night Caller, and we'd interview people from the paranormal, and I'd be doing the voice. It was funny as hell, but people wouldn't realize that I wasn't the Night Caller. And I'd have on like people like God, what was her name? People knew her as the Potty Mouth Psychic. Andrea Wolf. I think her name was. But anyways, yeah, she was on there. I actually had Andrea Perrin. That's actually how I met her, and the thing was, I didn't realize that she was the woman who was the older daughter in the original case for The Conjuring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
didn't
that's so
realize
freaky. And she's still alive. She's alive.
Yeah, and I've talked to her mom too, and that, and you know, we were friends there for a while. She's disappeared though. I don't know if she kind of went off her own way, you know, and then there was the Jaime Maussan controversy that she got stuck into, and it kind of messed her up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, the Roswell pictures, which turned out to be a mummified kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an amazing one where all these people spent all that money and they ended up, you know, they had this, you know, multi-million-dollar production to put up these pictures, and it was like 2 days later, you know, they said, "Oh no, we can't clear up this picture to get it looking any better," and these two guys used a free app to clean it up, and it was a mummified kid, not an alien.
Yeah. And they did that a lot back in the day. They'd sacrifice kids and mummify them, and it depends on where they're at. Sometimes you find them at the top of a mountain, and I heard about these Mayan kids that, you know, they fed them cocaine and other things to inhibit them, and then they stuck them at the top of this snowy, cold mountain, and they'd basically freeze to death and kind of mummify due to the way the elements were. So I'm wondering if that was some sort of sacrifice as well.
No, what it turned out it was one of those kids from one of the freak shows.
Oh wow!
And the thing was that a museum bought it, and the thing is that, you know, where they saw it on the, you know, where in the picture it was on a table, there was a little sign next to it. Thing is, it said, you know, when they cleared up the picture, it said mummified child, da 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 da. and it was a big child.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, yeah. So
how did he get mummified? Like you said, it was from a freak show. Like, what year did they actually do that? Did they actually do the process to actually mummify him, or was it something else?
No information on it. But it was an unusually large child when they, and so poor old Jaime got hit, and Andrea, because she was supporting him, and a whole bunch of well-known paranormal researchers got blasted because of that. But
well, there are aliens out there and other things like that going on, so it's easy to mistake this kind of. If he's part of a freak show, he must have been kind of weird shaped. He could have been alien shaped, thinking that's a mummified alien, and it's actually a child. So it's easy to make that mistake and say certain things like that. So it's hard when you get kind of caught up in that turmoil.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's And the thing is that Jaime didn't do his due diligence like he should have. But what can we expect from Jaime? I mean, our dear friend Rich Giordano proved how fallible Jaime was years ago when he actually met Jaime and presented him with some footage, and what it was in fact it was a plastic bag that had gotten pulled up in the air, and the sun was shining on it.
Oh no!
And Jaime's going, "Oh yes, Richard, that is a wonderful UFO." And
he's like, "No, it's not. It's a plastic bag."
and Rich goes, after a few minutes, he goes, "Jaime, do you realize that's a plastic bag?" And he goes, "No, that's not a plastic bag. That's a UFO." And he actually, for years, he had that footage up on his show in the opening credits.
Oh no. Poor guy. Well, it is unidentified to him. He didn't realize it was a flying bag, really. But Rich is really good at pointing these certain things out and seeing. There was another one that he had shared where someone's like, "Here's a UFO," but you could see the cable coming off of it. It was actually like some sort of balloon. But Rich is really good at debunking a lot of things. He's a very smart, intelligent, and fun guy.
Oh yeah. I love Rich. I mean, I've known Rich, since I started podcasting. He was one of the first podcasters I started listening to, and I started listening to him, and then I listened to George Lopez.
He's so entertaining with all his, ideals and such, and he also does these. I want to say interpretations, but he's mimicking people and using these different voices, which is hard for him because of the thing he received on his voice box and such from the damage of using the Ouija board. And the guy at the hospital, or where he went to the doctor's office, actually said it looked like he was trying to swallow a sword, which he never had.
Yeah.
But it was that damage that he received from messing around with this Ouija board and messing with Satan and doing all this other stuff, and then he received this damage, which makes me sad because he is so awesome and talented, and he's able to do these interpretations of different people so well, and I love hearing him when he does that. The psychic and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then the Hulk.
You mean Celia Brown? I just love Celia Brown.
Celia
Morty,
Brown.
What you doing, Morty?
Where are you, Charlie?
Yeah. And what do you mean, sister? I'm the Hulkamaniac in all this.
That's right, William. I'm the Hulk. He's so fun.
Yeah.
And I love him to death. He's a great guy. We've had a couple misunderstandings, but I still love him. You know, he's one of my best friends on Facebook, and I can't wait to meet him someday when I go back down to Arizona to visit my family. I hope to catch some coffee with them.
Yeah.
And sit one-on-one with them and try to work through these misunderstandings that we have had, because I hate to lose him as a friend, because he is so awesome and amazing and such a talent, and I can see him really going places.
Oh yeah, same with me. I mean, you know, he's had a few near misses there, you know, where he almost became famous. But
he's gonna do it, brother.
Oh, I know. I mean, you know, well, I mean, he's already, you know, I mean, he's one of the best that you know, when it comes to these debunking and all that, and you know, just basically ripping people. I mean, he's great.
And he's had these issues with YouTube. He's went and made his show big on YouTube, and he's had these issues with YouTube keeps cutting him off. And I'm just like, what is happening? Like, somebody from YouTube or wherever is trying to sabotage him, because he'll be going, and then it cuts him off, and he'll try over and over and be like, hey, be patient with me. And everybody loves him so much, they are, and they're just waiting to hear more from him. And it's so sad that YouTube is doing that. But on that note, William, we do have to go to our second break. So you guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject, from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Do you want to know what's really going on in your world? Do you have questions about who you can trust in the mainstream media? Then look no further than the Rebel Planet. Come get the straight answers right here at spacedoutradio.com. Join me, Jamie Sexton, creator of Rebel Planet News, as I fill you in on the stories behind the stories. All you truth seekers, be sure to tune in to Rebel Planet on spacedoutradio.com the third Thursday of every month.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and I want you to come on a nightly journey. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, every Monday through Friday, you can come hang out with me and the other space travelers. We have it all from Carl the Alien bouncing on by to those misfit gnomes causing havoc. It's 3 hours of fun and entertainment on those topics the mainstream really doesn't want to touch. Come get all paranormal with us at spacedoutradio.com, and together, my friends, along with our resident guitar god Bumblefoot, we own the night.
Sit back, relax, grab a drink, and listen closely. Spaced Out Radio continues through the weekend. From the mile-high mountains of Colorado to you, listening around the world, this is Spaced Out Weekend with Tessa Nicole Thomas.
Thank you guys so much for hanging in there. We're back with Mr. William Pattison. William, welcome back, and thanks so much for being on the show. It's been an honor and a joy, I must say.
No problem at all. No problem at all. Yeah.
Okay, so before we forget again, Mr. Hyland stepped in and was about to break his foot off somewhere. Can you tell us what he wanted you to share?
Oh, yeah. Because the thing is that, I work with him on his podcast, which is Full Spectrum Horror, which is part of the Wolfpack Presents. And what we do on Full Spectrum Horror is that we analyze horror films. We talk about horror films, give our impressions on on a certain horror film during half of the show. And, we also do interviews with horror celebrities and that, once in a while. Also, we do, let me see, for a while we were doing the horror purge, which, we were killing off, people that we didn't like in the horror community. That was funny.
Very creative.
Unfortunately, that was last season. We couldn't do it this season because we tried to kill off Kane Hodder, who is Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th films. And what we did is we did this situation where Kane was stuck in a Japanese game show.
Oh, I saw a Supernatural series like that, and they're like, what do we do? I don't even know Japanese. And then all of a sudden, Dean started talking Japanese.
It was inspired by that. And the thing is that, Kane Hodder had to try to answer questions, but the game show host, the female game show host, Ingrid Funkenheimer, yes, she has a non-Japanese name. She would ask questions in Japanese. And if he didn't answer the question, he got electric shocks.
Oh, man.
And then what ended up happening is he did answer a question right, and he got his head chopped off.
Oh, man.
But
that's
then
pretty
his
harsh.
head somehow got back on because he's Jason Voorhees. He broke out and demolished the set and killed the host.
Wow.
So we had to stop it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that was a fun little experience because we had it where we were going to try to get rid of the Soskas, but then Mr. Hyland interceded because Mr. Hyland at the time, he was horror Jesus. So he came and tried to exorcise the Soskas and turn them into nuns. And anyway, so the Soskas got taken to a mission, and they escaped. And when they escaped, they beat up the head lady there, and went and gave Mr. Hyland the finger on the security camera.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we had fun with that, and we also do horror news, which is funny as hell because as I say, Mr. Hyland spends an entire month going for the weird, the strange, the horror news, and with him, he's always going for this big intellectual stuff, and then he turns to me, and I'm doing all the new horror dolls or horror video. Well, we also do a horror video thing where I'm putting out all the I'm telling all the releases that are coming out for Scream Factory. And then we also do movie reviews during that period. So Mr. Hyland will probably, he averages on 4 movie reviews, and I average about maybe 1 or 2. But he's always going for these weird art house films or stuff, or the old films, while I'm going for the newer stuff that I've managed to watch. I'm going to hit him with Cherokee Creek when we record our show next week.
Yeah, and that's the one you were talking about that I haven't seen, but I'm looking forward to watching it. But that was interesting.
Oh yeah, you're gonna love that one. You're gonna be going, oh my god,
what's happening? I can't can't wait to see it. And I do have Amazon Prime. It was because I was doing Christmas shopping for the kids and getting their hoverboards and whatnot. And then I forgot to cancel it, but Amazon Prime has the videos and such that you can watch. And so I'm going to look on there and try to find this Cherokee Creek that you're telling me about and try to watch it.
Yeah, either that or just go online. I think the movie site itself is showing it because they got in trouble with Amazon Prime and they pulled it because of excessive violence.
Jeez.
Excessive violence and sexual activity.
Yeah, like what movie does not have that going on? Give me a break.
Most of the new horror films nowadays, they have violence, but they don't have the sexual activity.
Well, you know, sex sells, and that's the way Hollywood is, and you even see sex on these different TV shows all the time. The hospital shows, different other shows, even Supernatural, you see that with Dean and sleeping with different chicks. But, I mean, sex sells, and it's all over the place, and I remember watching 90210 as a kid and all these different stupid shows, and it's all over the place, and sexualizing our kids, and now they're trying to beef up on it. Like, give me a break. If the FCC ain't catching on it, like, why are these other people going above and beyond to try to stop it?
Actually, the thing is that it's the filmmakers that are the YouTube. But on a lot of the more modern horror films, what you're finding is that the filmmakers have realized that sex takes you away from the story, and now they're focusing more on the story than they are the sex and the and the gore. So you're finding a lot of them. I mean, shoot, we're only, what is it, maybe a week away from Gordon Peele's Us, which is going to be an incredible film. I've already, seen a whole bunch of articles because I do a newsletter called the Wolfpack Newsletter, and there's just been tons of articles on Us. And what it is it's about, Us is about a family, and the thing is, all of a sudden there's these murderous doppelgangers of them that show up and are out to kill them and take their place.
Yeah, doppelgangers are scary. I actually have a doppelganger of myself that showed up around my house and pushed my daughter down and ran into the house wearing a white dress and locked the door, which I was inside playing poker with my roommates, wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and my daughter came in, she's like, how come you're not wearing that white dress anymore, and how come you pushed me down in the tree fort? And I was like, that was not me. They saw her doing the dishes, which, if she's doing the dishes, I wish she'd come back. And she even woke up my brother that I hadn't seen in 30 years. My mom was killed by a drunk driver when I was 5, almost 6, and my brother, I bought him a ticket to come out to visit. I had to buy a ticket, otherwise he wouldn't come because he's like a workaholic. But she went and woke him up and was like, Gary, you need to wake up. Gary, get up. You gotta wake up. And he comes out, and we're all watching TV in the living room, and he's like, what did you need? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you just came in and told me I needed to wake up. I don't know what was happening with that, but nothing has happened since, so the doppelganger hasn't taken my life and hasn't taken over my life, but that was insane for me. Have you had an experience like that in your life at all with a doppelganger or anything like that going on?
No doppelgangers. I have enough trouble with cyber stalkers making fake profiles of me and trying to get me into battles with people, but no.
You must be pretty famous.
Cyber stalkers kind of remind you of demonic, of demonic possession and stuff.
Right? They call them trolls, which is pretty good. Like, they could be trolls, but they could be cyber demons.
There's a difference between trolls and cyber stalkers. Trolls will do it for a very short time, maybe, a couple of days, and then they'll go off. They'll just go and do their trolling, and then they'll leave. cyber stalkers are like the guests that won't go away.
Right. Like I was saying, we should call them cyber demons.
Yeah, they should call them cyber demons because that's a good, it's a good comparison.
Yeah, because they're relentless and they're just like trying to take your energy and trying to ruin you, and it just reminds me of a demon, cyber demons.
Yeah. And of course, my cyber stalkers, they actually created an evil not really a doppelganger, an evil nemesis of me, which a fake writer named Dan Fox, who claims that he wrote the Camp Crystal Lake novels.
Jeez. That's insane. Well, like your friend Felicia, who played Charlie on Supernatural, when she went to Oz to have her adventure, she came back and she had the light side of her and she had the dark side, which went and killed the guy that was drunk driving and killed her mom and dad when they went to pick her up. So she was dealing with the dark side and the light side, and anytime anybody would hurt the dark side, it would hurt her as well. Man, I'm so sad that happened to her, that she died in there, because I really loved her character. She's vicious and amazing, and I gotta be friends with Felicia. I'm gonna go on your site and be like, will you be my friend, Felicia?
Yeah, unfortunately, because of what happened with GameGate, Felicia doesn't friend anybody on Facebook. And she rarely, it's only her filming associates that she actually connects with on Twitter.
Well, you gotta put a good word in for me, dude, for real. I need to be friends with Felicia. I love Charlie.
You can follow Felicia on Twitter, and you can follow her on Facebook and leave her messages. She's fine with that.
But I'm saying, Mr. William Pattison, you got to put a word in for me so we can be friends, because I was a really big fan of hers, and I was so sad when her character died on Supernatural. I was just like, no way. Because she did die before, and Dean brought her back, and then she died again because of this stuff happening with the Frankensteins, which are now the Steins. That was insane. Like, how could that even happen to her? How is she gone? I was really, really sad about that.
Back. She's back again.
Well, I'm still watching it, so I'll catch up, and hopefully she does come back, because I loved her to death.
No,
she was one of my favorite characters.
It's another world, Charlie, who had a different past, but it, this one was actually a rebel fighter who was fighting against angels.
Oh, wow.
Who had pretty much taken over the world, so she's badass.
Heck
she's
yes.
a badass Stalky.
I love her. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you told me that. I'm so glad she's back, because I was so sad. I was like, are you really going to take Charlie away from us? Because I loved her. She's like one of my favorite characters besides Dean and Sam. Charlie was one of my favorites. She had that certain charisma going on and flirting with the girls and doing all this other stuff. And yeah, I really missed her. She was super smart.
Felicia's a lot like that. She's very much so. The only thing is that if you get her at a convention and stuff and she's in a crowd, she kind of leaves her own body and she floats above herself while she's doing autographs. So, unfortunately, when you see her when she's at signing autographs, she's not really there.
Right?
I
she's
should
probably
tell
got
you
that social anxiety like I do, and you do have to kind of leave your body, and that's when another persona of yourself comes out. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. I've had good experiences with doing that, and I've had bad ones. Just like yesterday, I had a bad one. But yeah, when you leave your body and you let things take control, things can happen that aren't so good. But I think she might have that social anxiety where she's dealing with all these people and all these energies. And I can tell that she's kind of an open person, and she has these different spiritual abilities. She has to kind of leave herself when she's dealing with this mass of people and doing these autographs and so on and so forth.
Yeah, because the thing is that she wasn't socialized the same way. The thing is that Felicia was raised by her mom and dad who were kind of modern hippies. And the thing is that she was home taught, through, almost high school grade. And her first experience with, going to a big school in that was college.
Yeah.
And
that's hardcore.
College.
Like, you don't have the junior high or the high school stuff going on, and then you go to college. Like, that's really Breaking Bad. I can imagine what she went through doing that.
Friends when her friends who were growing up was just her brother Ryan and a bunch of Amish kids.
Right?
Seriously, I'm not kidding you. This is what she told me about.
Yeah, have you seen that show Amish Mafia? Like, that's crazy. All this stuff going on.
No, I haven't seen anything about an Amish Mafia. I've seen Amish Haunting. That's bad enough.
Yeah, there's an Amish Mafia out there. I think it's on History Channel, or it could be A&E. I can't remember, but yeah, they have an Amish Mafia going on, and I have seen the Amish stories on some of the ghost shows going on because I love those paranormal shows. But the Amish Mafia is a big thing, and they kind of go around what the rules are, and they do these different things, being the Amish Mafia. But I could see now that you said that she could be Amish. But she's beautiful and lovely, and I just love her spirit. I love her soul. I love her light, and I hope to be friends with her someday. And we were going to talk about different things. We're always
Amish. She's more. The thing is that she's just. She's Felicia. Let's put it that way. The woman has a huge IQ. She had a huge IQ because her grandparents are scientists, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, she had this huge IQ. When she was in college, she studied the violin and she studied music and dance. So
awesome.
she had problems with dancing because she's very clumsy. So
I grew out of that when I turned 18. I used to knock drinks over, trip up the stairs, do other things, and then 18 it was okay, and then it came back at like 38 or 39. So I totally feel what you're saying.
Yeah, so she decided to be an actress, and
she does so good at it. I love her so much, and I'm so glad she did come on the movie screen because I really do look up to her, and I do feel her light, and I know she's an amazing person. And we're going to talk.
I mean, you're going to be amazed, Tessa. But my book my story that I'm working on right now, Shadow Man versus the Undead.
Mm-hmm.
The main character is my version of Felicia Day.
Oh, I have to read it. I really am such a big fan of her, and I was so sad when she died, but they've brought back Dean, they've brought back Sam, they've done different things, so I'm like, Felicia's got to come back, but I haven't got to that point yet in the Supernatural.
Oh, and they brought back Bobby, too.
Yeah, Bobby came back and helped to bring, what is his name? Metrodon.
No, we can't say it. Yeah, we can't say that name on FCC, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Richard.
What the heck?
Yeah, you can't say Richard. Yeah, it's the
guy that used to play Booger in the Nerds, like Booger. You can't say his name.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. Oh, you mean Metatron?
Metatron. Yeah, I was saying Metatron,
No, I
but Metatron.
was thinking about the other one. You know, the head of the Leviathan.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Richard.
Yes, Dick.
The word we can't say on FCC.
Yes, his name was Dick. And he was a really major
You
a-hole.
said it. You said it.
But that was
I
his
didn't
name.
say it.
His name was Dick. I'm not talking about a body part. I'm talking about a person. But yes. He's coming back? Are you serious? They whacked his head off. He's supposed to be gone. And he's going to come back? Oh, my gosh.
Nope. No, we're not going to have Dick back. Thank God.
Thank goodness.
Though
guy...
I actually did. I wrote Dick into my first volume of Symphony of Death. I've got the lawyer in Symphony of Death. His name's Dick Hadley. He goes, "Yes, call me Dick. Dick Hadley. I'm Dick. Dick Hadley. Just remember Dick." Oh my God! Everyone loves that. When I was reading that for my friends, I had a bunch of my friends that I was reading Robert Diablo, and every time I started bringing in Dick Hadley, they would just die. It was like, wow. Yeah, so anyways, yeah, definitely check out Robert Diablo. That one is funny as hell. And the thing is that if anyone knows the horror community, they will laugh their asses off because I bring in a whole bunch of people from the horror community and lampoon them like crazy. I even bring in the Soskas.
The Soska sisters, right?
Yeah, the Soska sisters.
Everybody's gonna be there. It's gonna be a freaking paranormal party. I gotta read that.
Yeah, it is actually. Oh, it's funny as hell because just so that people know, Robert Diablo is my version of the James Stewart story Harvey. So instead of the rabbit is now a demon from hell. And the thing is that the person who's the eccentric kid, his name's Christopher Blackthorne, he's being accused of murdering his security guard, because he's the son of a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that they think this little Harry Potter-looking guy actually twisted his muscular security guard's head all the way around.
Jeez.
But Christopher tells them, no, it was Robert that did it, because you don't call Robert Dick.
No, Richard.
Or no, you don't call Robert Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't call Robert Bob, because Bob is a insult in demon.
And I did see a series on Supernatural where Bob, aka Robert, whatever, did become a demon, and it's happened a couple times, but I'm wondering if that's where he comes back in, because he was in his happy place, his heaven, drinking his beer, listening to his Willie Nelson, looking at his picture of him with the Dean and Sam and all this other stuff, and then they break him out. He's got to break out, and he starts opening all these doors, which was a really smart move. Open all these doors, let everybody out, and then there's this commotion of different people out of their personal heavens, and then he moves on to be able to get...
oh, you mean Bobby? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bobby Singer.
Yeah, Bobby Singer. And there's different versions of him. He's looking at the doors like, what the F? Like, what the F is going on here? Like, I don't even understand. But there's even like a Roberta or whatever that is a Bobby. And he opens all these doors and there's males mostly. And then there's a couple females coming out. That way he can kind of scapegoat himself and get through this corridor to go and break Metrodon or whatever his name is out of prison. And then he becomes human because the angel Ezekiel like steals his spirit, puts it in a bottle, and shoots him in the leg. And I mean, it's very intriguing. I did not like Supernatural before, but I've actually grown to love it. And Dean's humor and all the different things going on, and Ezekiel having this humanism about himself and finally gaining some humor. It's been pretty intriguing and interesting.
Castiel?
Castiel, yes!
Yeah, I know. I love Castiel. Castiel is something. I'm actually also Twitter friends with Misha Collins. Who
You're
is
so
Castiel.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is that Misha's into his charities and stuff.
That's
all he
awesome.
talks about.
I'm so happy for him and proud of him for doing that. Because a lot of people just think about their own self and their own, obtaining these material goods. And he's actually doing charitable goods. He's actually being an angel, which he should. That's awesome.
Yeah, which reminds me of something that we were going to talk about. Artists in Horror Month.
That's right.
As a segue. Yeah, Artists in Horror Month, it's a email event that I do. I've been doing it for 7 years now. A lot of people thought when I started it out that I was trying to be anti Women in Horror Month, but it wasn't. The thing was that before I started Artists in Horror Month, I looked at the horror community and things were going horrible. I mean, you had, everyone was battling each other and it was just nothing but negativity. And you had this group called, the horror socials that were, you talk about the Amish mafia. This was the horror mafia.
Mm-hmm.
These people were keeping people from being able to do their projects. They were stealing people's investors. They were destroying people's reputations.
It's just ridiculous.
And just everything. And, people in the horror community were at war with each other. And I thought, you know what, we need to do something about this because horror is just falling apart. And, the public was seeing this in horror. They were seeing all this battling and stuff. And, horror was, at one point they said that horror was below pornography when it came to class.
Right.
So the thing is that I thought, okay, well, what can I do? And I thought, you know what? Because Women in Horror Month, they go crazy. They were having, just doing all this other stuff, and they were doing stuff that wasn't going to their mission statement. Well, I figured out my mission statement was to bring appreciation to the horror community. Having people in horror appreciate each other. Because once you start appreciating someone, you can't war with them.
And I keep laughing, and I'm sorry, you could probably hear me, but somebody said ass butt, which Castiel did say that when he threw.
I know. I saw it myself.
Yeah, he threw that at
no
Satan,
problem.
basically, and he's like, take this ass butt, and I was like, that is the funniest thing I've ever heard, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I
I
had to,
know.
I'm laughing to myself.
I
But
love
I can hear
Cassio stuff.
take that ass butt, and I was just like, oh, it just still cracks me up. I can't believe he said that.
I know. Anyway, so the thing is that what I figured out is that what I was going to do was I was going to do something through the email rather than having huge events. So what I did is I wrote up a appreciation note that people, a form that they could put someone's name in and then just send them an email. And, it would say, it's Artists in Horror Month to da-da-da-da-da. I appreciate you. Please pass this on. Please pass the appreciation on to another artist in horror. It'll make their day. And so I started doing that, just sending it out in March to people, just doing like 5 a day. And then, I came up with an idea to encourage people to put out appreciation letters. And what I came up with was the Artists in Horror challenge. And the thing is, it was, okay, you're going to spend at least an hour a day and do appreciation letters and send them out to people every day, to all your horror friends, and that, to the point where you're going to start running out of people to send it to. So then you're going to have to find people to send the stuff to. And what you're going to find is that you're sending out appreciation letters to people who don't get appreciation letters or any acknowledgement in horror. And so a lot of people have started doing that for Artists in Horror Month, going through the entire month and sending out maybe 10 to 20 appreciation letters a day, and finding these people that are haven't gotten any appreciation, and it makes their day. And the thing is, what I've noticed is in the past 7 years, things have cooled down quite a bit in horror. There's not as many arguments and stuff. Yes, we do have the problem with cyber stalkers, but that's another point. But when it comes to individuals, where I've found that the attitude in horror has changed quite a bit. And with that, the horror movies have changed. You're finding a lot more people are putting a lot more love into their horror films, and we're getting better quality horror films. And I'm not going to say that it's all because of my Artists in Horror Month, but I think a little bit of that did help all this time. And what I've done also is I've done memorial appreciation letters where people can, come on the Artists in Horror website, or, actually come onto the Facebook page and express their appreciation to horror people who have died. So I have pictures and memorial things up on there for artists of horror who have died. The most recent addition to that was Dick Miller, who was, from the Roger Corman film Bucket of Blood and that, and he played in all, so many horror films. You probably don't remember who Dick Miller is, right? Right, Tessa?
Yeah, it rings a bell. I remember who he is, but he is kind of few and far between, basically. But I do remember Dick Miller.
Yeah. Well, I've got a whole bunch of different ones. If you ever check out the Artists in Horror Month page on Facebook, you'll see all of those, and I've also included those on the official Artists in Horror Month website that I've got for it.
And that's awesome, and I'm so grateful that you do that, because we do need to remember these people and remember these certain shows, and a lot of us were brought up on horror films, and to us it's kind of like peace of mind. And somebody was saying earlier, I think it was Moonlight was saying, that can explain how messed up we are and why we're messed up, because we were raised on horror. Well, I kind of find comfort in the horror realm, and it helps me to get through today's life and not think of it so seriously as other people do, because horror is a part of my life. And, I either watch horror films or the news to get to sleep. and the news is horrific. Like, there's so many crazy, epic things going on there that are horrific.
Well, I mean, from a medical standpoint, there's been studies that have shown that horror provides the same endorphins as comedy. So being scared is, it provides the same comfort as comedy does, and what it does is it helps with tension and stuff. So a lot of people who have health problems, watching horror films actually helps them.
Yeah, I'll have to tell my sister that. She actually had surgery recently, which resulted in her having pneumonia, her sac around her lungs separating, and now she's got this massive blood clot in her lungs. They finally took her off oxygen, but I might tell her, instead of watching comedy or other things like that, watch some horror, because that's going to release some endorphins that are going to help heal you.
Well, yeah, she can watch comedy too. So comedy and horror provide the same endorphins, amazingly enough. It's surprising.
That is so interesting. Trip in the chat room was asking quite a while ago, about an hour ago, William, do you think the Monsters and the Addams Family helped or hurt horror films?
Oh, well, it's odd, because I have no idea. All I know is that the Munsters and the Addams Family and that, those were people that I loved those people. I mean, I just recently got in a Munsters Christmas for my thing. So there's, the thing is that Frankenstein, Dracula, and those, they're iconic, and the thing is that it's just like Freddy Krueger's turned into a cuddly figure too. So the problem is that the original versions of those, like the Bela Lugosi Dracula, has been so iconicized that he's lost his scariness. Where, the same with Frankenstein and that, because, when I was young, I used to have Frankenberries and Count Chocula.
Mm-hmm. That's good stuff. Marshmallows in your cereal. How can you lose?
And now you got Freddy Krueger's, which has come out from Funko cereal. And those, you have the modern monster cereals too. So, I don't know. I mean, the thing is that Dracula and Frankenstein, the thing is that they've had to evolve over the years. I mean, we went from Nosferatu to Bela Lugosi's Dracula, and to Gary Oldman's Dracula. I mean, that one honestly is my favorite. Is Gary Oldman's Dracula. I don't know why, but I love that version of Dracula. You know,
I love
mean,
the
I
fact
still
that
love
the monsters and the Addams Family, it had the horror with it, but it also had the humor. And both of those are good medicine for us.
Exactly. And, you know, the thing is that Frankenstein and Dracula had already lost their power before the Munsters came out. The Munsters were, I mean, seriously, when they did Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein,
right?
That was the end of Frankenstein's scariness.
Yeah, kind of brought the comedic value to it.
Yeah. Though I do have to admit that Abbott and Costello didn't try to take away the scariness of the monsters. They did treat Frankenstein and Dracula with respect. And that's one thing that you have to look for in a horror comedy. They can't. It's one thing that you noticed with Shaun of the Dead. All the comedy was the human characters. The zombies were their same scary selves.
Yeah, but it was so funny, and even the Queen song playing, and they're like whack, whack, whack in unison with the song. I was like, that was my favorite part of Shaun of the Dead, but I really did love it because they had the scary portion, but they had the comedic portion, which just all brought it all together and made you love it even more. I really, really do love Shaun of the Dead. It's an awesome show.
Yeah, that music thing was a homage to Romero and the shopping mall thing, the da thing. Yeah, the music.
Right.
Because I love that. That was a little bit of funniness in that one, was that music.
Donna was asking, what does Mr. Pattison think of Jamie Lee Curtis?
Oh, Jamie Lee Curtis. I love Jamie Lee. She started out in horror. She was a scream queen. She was one of the major scream queens, and then she moved on, which was fine. She needed to for her career. And now, here at the end, she's coming back to horror, which is nothing wrong at all. And she
went from digestive yogurt to back to horror.
Yeah. And the thing is that when she came back to horror, she didn't do it as a joke. She didn't do it humorously. What she did is she came back and she presented herself as an older woman who was a strong woman, and a strong woman who defended herself. And that is just awesome.
I really loved it. And the way she had her house set up, I'm like, you go, girl. She did blow herself up, but she blew up the monster as well. So that was awesome what she did.
Yeah. Yeah. And, to let you know, they're going to be doing a sequel.
I'm excited. I used to enjoy those, and like you said, they got kind of repetitive, even with the Freddy videos, the Jason videos, and the Michael Myers videos. They kind of got really repetitive, but it's nice to have them come out and have this new version of Halloween and Friday the 13th and other things, because it kind of brings us back to our roots and the way we grew up and the things that we watched that kind of humored us as well as got us to sleep at night.
Pretty much. Alrighty.
I really do miss the Vincent Price videos and these other videos that we used to watch as kids, The Twilight Zone and I'm trying to remember right now. I want to say Humphrey Bogart, but that's not it. Who was the other character that had his night show that was really creepy? Oh my goodness.
Well, you had Boris Karloff Theater. You had Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Alfred Hitchcock, yes. That was my brain fart. I could not remember Alfred Hitchcock, but he was one that I grew up on as well. And these are different things that are coming back these days, which I'm excited to see. Like I said in the beginning, the new Twilight Zone and these new versions of old videos coming back. I'm hoping they don't tear them apart. Like a lot of times you see something trying to be remade and it's not the same as it should be, which, you know, you can't really remake it exactly.
That was the problem with the second remake of the Twilight Zone. They absolutely only had one good episode in that entire thing. That's why it only lasted 4 episodes. Because they realized that, no, this isn't going to work. But the thing is that the people who are working on this Twilight Zone are really good. And the thing is that this Twilight Zone is actually, amazingly enough, it's being made in Canada through a Canadian company, and a lot of the people who's working on this are the ones that worked on the remake of The Outer Limits. Well, the restart of The Outer Limits, and remember how long that lasted? That lasted about 5 or 6 years, and they came out with some incredible, stunning anthology stories in that one. Yeah, do you remember on the remake of the first remake of the Twilight Zone? Did you know that Danielle Harris, the one that played the little girl in The Return of Michael Myers and Halloween 4 and 5.
Unfortunately,
she actually got her.
I've seen people talking about the remake of the Twilight Zone, and I actually didn't see it. I've always watched the old Twilight Zone episodes, and I've been going back to those. I did not even know that there was a remake until Super Bowl Sunday. I knew they were going to do another remake of it, but I totally missed the second remake of the Twilight Zone, and I'm so grateful.
Yeah. The first one was fantastic, and it actually had the first 2-part Twilight Zone story, and that one had Danielle Harris in it as a little girl, and it was one about this guy. He was working with holograms and making artificial stuff, and he makes an image of a baby, and it ends up he leaves and it turns into this little girl. And the thing is that what ends up happening is, in this 2-part story, it's a love story. This girl lives an entire lifetime in this tube with him. And it's just this weird story.
I have to tell you right now, Mooney in the chat room was saying Felicia actually passed in real life. I don't want to believe that, because I had a hard enough time her passing in Supernatural. Have you heard anything about her passing in real life? Because Mooney said she actually passed away in real life.
No, she's not dead.
Yeah, that's what
She's
I'm
not
saying.
dead.
No freaking way. No fracking way, man.
I just saw her on Twitter today.
Okay, I'm hoping that's just a nasty, ugly rumor.
She was, yeah. I mean, shit. She was over at the ice cream parlor and was sitting there with this double thing of ice cream, going, "Oh, I know you're jealous."
I would be.
Yeah, she's funny. You gotta follow her on Twitter because she is hilarious.
She is. She's amazing,
I mean,
and I loved her character, and I could just see her light, and I just wanted to know her more. So, you being friends with her, I'm going to go on your Facebook, and I'm going to try to stalk her. Not in a bad way, but I want to be friends with her because I want to know her better, and it'd be so awesome to have her on the show and see her output of what she experienced on Supernatural and supernatural experiences that she's had in real life.
I've been trying to get her on my show.
Yeah, it's going to be hard, right?
Yeah, because she does a few interviews, but she doesn't like doing interviews because she's very self-conscious. So she really doesn't like doing that stuff. I mean, she'll sit there and she'll do live streams where she's playing video games. That's another thing. You'll be able to find out when she's on live stream, so you could honestly get on a live stream and hang out with her. That would be the better way to do it.
I would totally do that. I'd totally like to see what she's doing in real life and just kind of, I don't know, I just loved her light and her energy, and she's such an awesome, amazing, epic person. I don't really know her, but I can see that from her.
Yeah, oh my God, she's constantly talking about her baby Calliope.
Aww.
She has a little girl, and she's cute. I don't know who the father is. I thought it was Will Wheaton for the longest time. I thought she was going with Will Wheaton. I don't know. She might be going with his brother, for all I know. But anyways, yeah, her little girl. She has the red hair just like her mom. And she's the cutest little thing. She has a Wheaton face, definitely.
Aww. That's super cute.
But anyways, yeah, so yeah, Felicia's cool. I love Felicia. She's just something, and
Well, Will, I can't believe it, but we're at the end of our time. We actually went through 3 hours. I wish we had 2 more hours to go because I just want to keep talking to you. But can you tell our listeners how to find you and how to buy your books?
Alrighty, yeah, definitely. You can find my books on Amazon.com, and you put in, for my Symphony of Death books, which are my newest books, you put in Symphony of Death, and then you put in William Pattison. If you just put in Symphony of Death, you're not going to find them for some reason. The best way to find my books is to go on my website, which is authorericmorris.weebly.com. And, and you can find me on Facebook, and, if you contact me, I can give you the addresses too. You can also find a connection for that on my Bloodbath Theater site, which is William Pattison's bloodbaththeater.weebly.com. And anyways, yeah. So if you go to the Author Eric Morris one, you have all my links to all my different areas. You've got sections on my books and Bloodbath Theater, everything. So
I have to say
definitely
again,
check it out.
Thank you so much to being my guest tonight, and it was so wonderful having you on the show this evening, and I look forward to having you on again, if you're up for it.
Yeah, sure. I just have to make sure that I'm not working. One thing that people don't realize is that authors actually have to have real-life jobs, too.
Yeah, just like paranormal investigators, you gotta have that muggle job, and you gotta keep on keeping on. But I'm so grateful that you were here tonight, and I had a really great time, and I wish we had more time. But I want to thank everyone in Spaced Out Radio, Facebook, Spreaker, Twitter, Paranormal Radio, TalkStream Live, Deep Talk Radio, and wherever else you may be listening in the universe tonight. I had a wonderful time this evening, and it was my pleasure, literally and figuratively, and I can't wait to do it again tomorrow night, or next weekend, actually. And we have Psychic Weekend going on spacedoutradio.com. Until next time, nighty-night, love and light to all my space cases out there, and don't forget, we are all in this together. Together we can make the world a little better, and together, my friends, we own the night. You guys have a wonderful week. See you back here next weekend.